Okay, so it is flour tortillas this time. I have about 4 cups of flour here because there's tonight, I don't know how many people it's going to be for supper, but probably about maybe 8 or 9 of us. And so I often figure about a half cup per person, but that's really plenty. Really, you can probably get 3 people to a cup of flour. But I just kind of, when I measure flour for tortillas, I just kind of do it. I mean, I just like scoop and dump. So it's probably a good 4 cups. And then baking powder, just plain old baking powder. This is actually something else I dumped in here, but like stuff from Sam's, what I usually get. And I do about that much for a cup of flour. Let me see, I'm gonna measure it here with a measuring spoon and see if it is about, that's about a 1/4 teaspoon. See, that's what that says. So, something like that, it's not real picky, I just do it. 2, 3, 4. One got a little heavy. And the salt. Baking powder. Okay, so you start with bread flour. It needs to be bread flour. The salt, I do about that much for a cup. I don't think it even is showing up very good here. Okay, that's probably about the same. Let's see. Let's try it here and measure. Yeah, close. 2, 3, 4. And just give that a good like little toss here. So it's all mixed through. Now that's stirred in. And then I like lard. I'm just picky about lard. Some people use shortening, I think, so you can do whatever you want. But I think lard makes the best. Here it is again. I just like eyeball. That's probably plenty much. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna measure my last one and we'll see how much it is. I'm gonna try the 1/2 teaspoon here. Yeah, that's probably about a 1/2 teaspoon. I don't know if that shows, but barely. So it's about a 1/2 teaspoon per cup of flour. And those are kind of healthy, hearty cups of flour. I'm not real picky. And you just cut it in, just like work it into the flour mixture. And if you see Tristan back there, he's working on something. Oh, I guess he left. I don't know, he's got some kind of project going.
I can dance.
He's, you know how Tristan is, he's always doing stuff. Making things, loves to make things. And so, I hope you lovely nieces are doing great today. Now that's pretty much, yeah, I guess anybody else that's watching this, they're just lucky. And I can kind of feel this, that it feels like it's about right. Sometimes if I get too much lard, then I add a little bit of extra flour, but I remember one time Janice was here, I was using my hands and doing something, and we discovered that I must be kind of a tactile learner. Do you remember that, Janice? That was fun. I think you were helping me when one of my babies was born. Cut in, and I just, usually actually, what I do is I just take my bowl over to the faucet, and I just turn the faucet on, and put water in, and then I stir it around, and then I do some more. So, I don't really have a measurement, but today I decided I'm going to start with 4 cups. So that kind of gives us a little bit of an idea where we're going. Whoops, uh-oh, afraid I got too much there. Okay, so I added, I don't know, a 4th cup of flour or something because I had gotten it a little bit too soggy, of course, you know. Well, no. All right, now I washed my counter off good. And I just do this right on the counter. Oh, I got kind of a sticky batch here. Alright, so I just got this too wet. It looks like maybe a third, just kind of guessing, maybe just more like a third cup of water per cup of flour. Maybe barely a third cup. But I just got too much, so I gotta fix my mess. I'm gonna try to get this drier. It is just too sticky. Now I'm just still trying to get this not so soupy. Okay, so this is the way the Belizeans knead their tortillas, and that's where I learned from several of my dear friends, 3 sisters. They would come over Sunday afternoon and we would make tortillas, and that's how I learned. So they're my good friends. And you just knead it until it gets really smooth. It feels almost like a yeast dough. Just this stretching and putting it back. It's still just a little bit sticky. I'm gonna keep trying it. Yeah, I think it's a little bit sticky. I'm gonna add a little bit more flour yet. Phew. I don't know, I just splashed way too much water in it. I don't know how it is, sometimes things just don't quite work. I think they'll be all right though, hopefully. These are gonna be for supper tonight with chicken and refried beans. Okay, I just usually spray my pan. I like to put it on a pan because if I just leave the little things on the counter, then it's the pain of moving them around. So, I'm gonna put that right there. Just pull my drawer out, you know. And this is feeling nice and smooth, and I think it's not too sticky. It's almost, oh, I had hot water, my hands are all red. It's almost a little bit on the sticky side yet. And I'm gonna just do little blobs, about that much. You can make them whatever size you want. I used to make really huge ones, and I still make them pretty big, but all chopped up into little balls, little blobs here. And then this is part of the secret, I think, is the kneading them. Some of these I got a little bit big. So what you want to do, the motion that you want to do is fold it over and push it, and it kind of rolls. Okay, so you just roll, fold, and roll it until it firms up. You can tell the difference once you get it firm. And you just roll it. It's like spongy now. When you touch it, it just like bounces right back out. This, when I touch it, it just like sogs, whatever that word is. I'll just put it on my little pan. And so it's just like a fold it over and roll it, and you can kind of feel it like rolling. And I'm spinning it like a quarter turn. And then you can just tell it's just like firmed up. Okay, so I'm gonna do 2 at a time here. It's a little bit faster. It's the same, fold it over, but I practiced pretty many times. I think I was about maybe 14 when I started doing this, so you can do the math if you want to, how long I've been doing this. And then you can just kind of feel when they get firmed up. If I will show you, I'm gonna do one a little bit too long here. If you overdo this step, it starts getting bumpy. See, can you see how that is? Whoops. I don't know if you can really see. It gets like little holes in there. Ugh, my fingernails look gross. And that's like too much. So you want to catch it before it gets to that stage. Okay, so I just usually spray the top a little bit with just whatever kind of spray you have. And then put plastic wrap over it so they don't dry out so bad, because they're a mess when they're dried out. It's not too fun to roll them out. They get like little yucky spots on them. I mean, it's like dry. It's not very nice. So I like to let them rest, because see, now they're like pop back up. I like to let them rest for several hours. In fact, you can just like do them at lunchtime for supper. The longer, like if you rush them too much, when you try to stretch them out, they just want to shrink right back up. So it makes it hard. And they're not as soft. Okay, now my tortillas have set for a while and they're like softer. And I have a nonstick pan that's been around for a while. It'll work. Works good, actually. And lard. The English side this time. Sorry about Spanish. Some of you know Spanish, so you'll be fine. I just rub lard on my counter and then just like stretch it out. Just kind of slides out. And you can get it pretty thin. They just kind of slide with that lard on it. They just sort of slip right out. Oh, I got my pan too hot. And you want to have the frying pan pretty hot, so they just kind of get done real fast. Oh, this is what else I forgot, is don't grease your pan. Just do it dry. But these have a little bit of grease on the bottom from the lard on the counter. And I usually I have a dish, and I put a cloth in the bottom. Whoops. It just takes, when your pan is nice and hot, it just takes a minute or two until they're done. So it's pretty fast, but you just have a bunch to do if you have family, which is great. Love a family. So they get sort of dark, little speckles. And you can kind of see how much, like that, it's fairly thin. So when I put this in, I don't like you can hear it sizzle there, but I like to kind of scoot it around so it doesn't stick, because if it sticks down, then it kind of fries weird, whatever you call that. Whatever it's doing. I believe they say they bake them, but it's just because it's a dry pan.